All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Saturday, July the 13th, 2019. This is a Saturday morning webinar, and the title of today's webinar is Boxing Trades and Using Trend Lines. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, watch Charles's webinar from Thursday night, and by the way, that's really absolutely awesome to draw on your charts before the room opens. As everybody knows, that's exactly what I do. Okay, and lines on your chart are critical, but I also like this chart. Okay, and this is that webinar chart, and everybody's got the template to this. And if not, it's on the website under your member login. Just drag it into your template folder. It's actually Documents, NinjaTrader 7 /templates/chart, and then you drop it in that folder. Okay, but see, by looking at this, doesn't this look like it kind of just gets it to where you can see a little bit more of what's going on this chart without seeing all the noise? Because the four range bars, they're what? They're actually a lot of noise. You get a lot of thrust retrace, and little moves. Well, this is the trend right here. This is your lightning 3. So your thrust, your retrace, your thrust kind of took out the top a little bit, so expect a higher low, and it took out the high. Draw you a trend line under it even if you want, but I think anybody can clearly see that what direction would you be wanting to go on that. I mean, if you were on a street that was going up, kind of like in my neighborhood, when we ride our bikes, we got some hills in this neighborhood that'll about wipe you out. They're pretty good sized hills, and you certainly don't want to, try to go downhill on an uphill. You're going to be, you just can't do it, obviously. When you're stair stepping, and this is the stair stepping that we talk about all the time, where it's stair stepping. So right at this very moment on this chart, what would it take to change trends? It would take taking this low out, right? Let's see, it's an optical illusion because the second top swing looks lower. The second top, it's weird, but you can clearly see that it's just 2 ticks higher, which I consider that to be the same top. Now what I look at when they do this, by the way, if I'm getting into the market, I look at it kind of like, if they were to check this here, for instance, they're going to either check 20 or they're going to check this 40, or they might even check, the sequence that they did, see how they did 4, 2, maybe 0. So, you're going to have a little sweet spot that they're going to check on this pullback, and it's going to be from here, like so. And basically, just like Charles said the other day, you're looking at areas. If we could get exact spots for bounces or exact spots for resistance rollovers, we'd all be geniuses and be able to make $1 billion trading. Well, it doesn't happen that way, does it? But it does do this. It does these boxes. It lets you box them in. And I think that's critical to trading. Okay, now, judging by this right here, would you box this to go long or short? Anybody? No, because see, the overall trend is up. You have to have, now this is just looking at lightning 3, by the way. Now, if you're a scalper type trader, you're going to be looking at lightning 1 and 2, and you can scalp those. I've showed that in webinars before, but you're going to want to scalp and get out. Okay, don't think, for instance, we know that this is a high right here at this time anyway, okay, because it hasn't drawn another one. So let's draw lightning 1 and see what it's doing. Okay, that's what it's doing right now. Okay, now notice that it's coming down and it's testing. You know, I was going to have a webinar on KISS trades. This is kind of a KISS trade webinar because this is actually what you're looking for on these pullbacks. You know, is into lightning 3 areas, but we're talking about areas, not necessarily exact. Okay, that's why these boxes, you know, you want your box to be, well, an object trader, it draws 2 bars is what it actually does. And, you know, if a bar is beside each other, it would draw a tight box. If a bar is, you know, halfway in the middle of the other one, it draws a 6-tick box. If it's like 2 bars that are straight up, it'd draw an 8-tick box. Okay. So this is what you're looking for right here. Now, once you've diagnosed your chart, you know, you can then get ready to trade, right? Because we've diagnosed our chart. We said, okay, this is heading up so far. All right, if it broke this trend line, could we possibly short it? Well, if it broke the trend line, and let's say, for instance, it broke it somewhere in here or something, and you boxed it, you know, maybe you could take a trade to the downside and see if you could get down to here, right? But it would have to break this trend line for one thing, you know, because that's an upward trend line. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is not so much trading the wedge, but trend lines on your chart. You know, I heard Charles a few times talk in his webinar on Thursday about, you know, the Lion King and stuff like that. Well, basically, we kid around about that, but, you know, our tools is actually what gets us to draw those lines on those charts. You know, I'd say probably 3/4 or more of our traders that are with Viper Trading Systems are Lion Kings. They know how to draw on their charts because they've been to countless webinars and they see exactly how we draw on charts. Okay, now let's look at the exact, or let's look first, let's look at this little chart real quick. This one, now notice that this is the same exact chart, by the way. Okay, there's your trend line. Okay, this is the exact same chart. That's real information. Okay, now this chart that I designed a template for, what I actually did on this one here is I just went ahead and went to my data series and changed it all to transparent, even the wicks of the candles. That way you can't see them, but you can see the alerts. Okay, and I'll make this template available. I haven't done it yet because we did go ahead and do a few things different with the alert, and I'll show you those right now since we're in the alert phase of the webinar. Notice that these alerts here, now keep in mind that your alerts are going to be exactly with the color that's on your chart. So see, this is a minimum criteria long trade. Okay, now the only reason that I actually don't make my background on this any darker than this is because I've got black here, but you can actually change that little box if you want to. It's done right here on the alert, and you just simply tell it you want it to be, instead of a silver box, you want it a little darker. You know, we can actually darken that box if we want to, like maybe a dark gray, or if you wanted to go one step further, you'd be gray. Okay, and then just click your OK button. Now you'd want to memorize that template, obviously. Okay, let's let it go ahead and load. That way y'all can see it a little bit easier, I think. And I'll hide the predictor for now. Yeah, see, that's a little darker right there, so y'all can see it in this webinar. You should be able to see the drop down. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So this is a little darker here. So notice that minimum long is right here. Now what we've done with the new features on the alert, and it'll be going out very soon. I'm going to test it on Monday, and then it'll go out. But what we've added is you've actually got a valid signal time for the bars. See where it says signal valid flash time span in minutes? Well, I've got this set on way up here so it flash forever. But notice that now your signal for your valid text can be, you know, say, well, when you get an alert, you might only want it to go for 10 minutes. So you can actually set that for 10. And then you have an audio valid time also in minutes. And this you'd want to do probably only, you know, like 5 minutes or something like that. And then your audio frequency in seconds, that would mean each time it does the alert, how long do you want it to, continue doing that? Well, a minute apart would probably be good, or maybe even 3 minutes apart. So you can actually set that. Now, the reason I set this on 480,000 minutes, that's a long, long time. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. So if you want to set this for a day's worth of flashing, you just simply set it for 1440, and that would flash for 24 hours. Then your little text deal at the top, you really don't want that going that long, right? So you'd simply set it for maybe, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, something like that. And then we'll probably set that like as a default or something. And then you'll notice that your flashing, well, let me just show you here real quick. I'll do 10 minutes on the flashing, and you'll see that those bars won't flash. Okay, because 10 minutes is not very long. I'll go ahead and do that and show you how it's going to work. Get rid of the predictor. Notice that you had a minimum criteria long. And see, notice how you don't have any of the others flashing here. Mid-band even. See, nothing flashing. The reason, because what I did is made it to where you can do your duration of time. Some people had said, I don't really like all that flashing. Well, that's fine. So your wish is my command. So we fixed it. Okay. But for this illustration today, for the webinar, I'm going to set that for 24 hours, and that's fine on that one. All right. Go ahead and let it load again. Now, Ninja 8, one thing that's kind of cool on Ninja 8 is when you click this drop down, it stays open. So you can click all the ones you want to do, but with this one, you have to do this. It's just the way Ninja 7 is. You can't do it any differently. Okay? But that's not a big deal to me, as far as, I do like Ninja 8 where it stays down, but, you can't have it in Ninja 7, unfortunately. Okay? See how, what we did to this? See how you can then see all the bars for a day? There's that big trade that we called out on Thursday, I think it was. Remember where that minimum criteria trade was? But you'll notice if you go back too far, see they're not flashing now because it's been more than 24 hours. Isn't that cool? So it'll give everybody a little bit more flexibility on the alert. And there's some other things I'd like to do to it, but I've got to get our programmer on Ninja 8 Object Trader. So that's what he's working on now. Okay, so I think everybody can clearly see we had this chart. This is where the price is right now, right? See, it's in that little sweet spot right there. So we expect, it could go down to the trend line, right? So you can use the lightning and actually take the trade, or use predictors or mid bands or the minimum criteria type. Now, I noticed on Charles's webinar a week ago, he preached, it's not preaching, but anyway, he taught, the mid-band trade. See, this is your mid-band trade right here. Notice there's no flashing bars down here, so obviously that trade worked. See it? Now, when you get a nice thrust up, you'll notice that your mid-band trade doesn't necessarily work. Now, this may have been a good trade. In other words, if you took it at mid-band, put your stop at line 5, or 3, pardon me, and, it went up and got you 10 ticks, that was still a good trade. But notice here, it's a phantom trade, right? And this may have worked and it may not have. It may have kissed right in here, and we'll look at that on the bars here in just a minute. But always remember, when you do get, the thrust, the retrace, the thrust, you got to really watch it after that, because that's pretty much what markets are doing. They're doing big old A, B, C type moves. 1, 2, 3. One thrust, two thrusts, or one thrust, retrace, thrust. So you get 2 thrusts lots of times. Now, sometimes you'll get 3. And then that's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So let's see if everybody diagnosed the chart right. Now, another thing that hit me like a ton of bricks, so to speak, is looking at these alerts, you can also see that they're stair-stepping to the upside. See there? So here's your lowest alert right here, except for down here, of course, right? So, this is kind of telling you that even on the alerts, they're stair-stepping up, right? So if I was to box this, I could actually box it, something like this right here, like so. Let's see, we'll do it with that one right there. Since this is inside the box right here, and we shouldn't go any lower than here because see, this was stair-stepping. So, would that actually work as a trade? Well, time would tell, but like always, we're fast at getting out of trades if they don't go our way too. Okay, so let's look at the actual chart now. Everybody see what I've done here though? You want to look at the overall, get the gist of what's going on. Now, if you can do this without this particular chart, that's fine, but you've got to kind of let those bars disappear in your mind when you look at a regular chart because this gets pretty noisy, but see that it's still here. See, I'll draw it. It's the same exact thing as it was before. See there? And here's that trend line right here, like so. See, it's the same chart. Okay, but sometimes you got to get in your head that these 4-range bars, they don't move. They basically just make a lot of noise on your chart. But they do stair step. They do the same thing as this does, except in a smaller way. And you can use like your lightning 1 or lightning 2 to draw those. Okay, remember this chart here that I teach on quite a bit? Well, we're going to teach on this real one today, okay, because I want to show you these lightning 1, 2, and 3 and trend lines and also boxing in. Okay, so if you were trading this now and this is 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so basically you can clearly see that it's already come down and checked a little lower than this top right across here. So that's more than likely a little sweet spot to get this trade. Everybody see that? Pretty much a pretty good area to get that trade. But here's a trick that I learned a long time ago watching charts. Did you know that usually when they break the previous top that you draw your line on, that they'll usually come down and check it exactly? You'll see that time and time again where they'll barely take it out, they won't take out the swing, and then they'll check that line. Let's see, now this is lightning 3, Phil K, on your question. Lightning 3 is, to me, the most important of all the lightnings because you need to be able to see the overall trend. Okay, but then, and if you want to do your lightnings a little different, I did mine just a tad different the other day, and I may stick with this, I don't know. But I did lightning 1 with a 6-range bar just to see, if it would draw a little smoother. And it's pretty close to a lightning 2, but a little bit less than a lightning 2. So I stuck that on a chart just to see, how I liked it. Now, I don't like to go changing things around. Don't get me wrong on that. I was just simply doing this because with 4-range bars, if you draw lightning 1 with 4-range bars, it's pretty much just drawing the swings. Okay, but let's draw lightning. Since we're here, let's draw lightning 1. See if I can draw lightning 1. Okay, there's lightning 1, but that's on a 6-range bar. Okay, so you can clearly see you've got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low, you got a higher high. Okay, they check the low. Okay, they check the low. Now, if you could have been in here, this was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so you probably couldn't have gotten this here. But this would have been a sweet little trade more than likely. Okay, but since it wasn't, what you'd have to do is either box in like with a trend line, to give an example, something like this. You could actually do that with Object Trader, and you could also box it in down here. Okay, now that's as much as I would expect it, because see, this is an ABC. Notice that? Now, when I was talking the other night, for instance, in a webinar, I don't really like a trade unless you get, at least an ABC, or if you box it in, it goes your way, period. Okay, because if you don't get an ABC, a lot of times you'll jump into a trade when they don't do that, and they just flat won't work out. See, here's an A, B, C. Okay, here's an A only right here. See it straight down. Did this trade work out? Yes. But did you box it in instead? And could you have taken this phantom short, box in long with that trend line? Yeah, yeah. But again, if you take it, notice that it did not go against you. Okay. So without an ABC, if they come down and kiss midband, you can definitely take those. Now, also one thing that you want to do most times is be careful with retraces unless they ratchet at least a little bit. Notice how this trade here, you had a low, high, higher low, barely higher high. That ratcheted a little bit above that swing. So when it pulls back into like midband, you box it. Now, this is actually that transition trade that Charles was talking about the other night. Okay, because what you're really looking for is a low high, higher low, and a higher high. You got it. You box it. Okay, this is a real iffy trade right here. But on that particular instance, you got a high, a low, a higher high, and then you got a deeper retrace. But see, to me, this is still just a high, a low. So I don't box this one. But I do like this one pretty well because it did do, basically it broke. See here even, low, high, higher low, higher high, box it in. Okay, but if you don't want to take this trade, this transition trade here, then always wait for this one right here where the green background comes up and at least your midband. And by the way, these new alerts will not flash on this background except with phantoms, okay? And you won't get any kind of alert on the yellow midband unless it's the other background, which is this one right here, okay? So let's go ahead and see if we can get a trade. We'll give it a shot. Now, by the way, 5 o'clock in the evening is not as good of a time to trade as 8:30 in the morning is. Okay, it's pretty slow, but it's fairly methodical then too. If you do happen to decide that you want to trade something like that. Okay, now notice we've got a trend line drawn, so I'm going to go ahead and erase my rays real quick. We'll just erase the rays because I'm going to draw another one and use the ray feature. And I'm going to have to actually do it more like that because you can't really put it in the middle of a bar before, now I could put it something like this, of course, and if it comes down below it and then back up through it, it would work. But this would be the way to do the wedge right here. All right, and I'd probably do like a touch +1. Let me see if I'm getting any questions coming in. Do you keep your webinar chart up at the same time as the regular chart for reference? Well, you certainly can. On your question, Mindy, if you want to keep this little chart up, if it really helps you a lot more, you could actually do this. Just put it to the side, take it like this, and then down, and watch it. Yeah, you could do that. You'd want to bring this over, and you'd want to do this to where you said always on top. Right click and say always on top. That way, when you're clicking on this one, you don't lose this one. Okay, you could do that. But keep in mind, you're actually looking at the exact same chart, just with the bars. See, because I've got the same trend line underneath the lows. You could draw a trend line here real easily. Change that to like a white. That's dark on that chart. That's fine. Okay. All right, so we're pretty much ready to trade, aren't we? So let's see if we can get a trade, because this would be, just like when I open the room on any morning of the week, we're actually looking for particular type trades, right? Let's see if we can get something. Now, and by the way, one thing I'd love to do in Ninja 8, and I'm really thinking very seriously about getting it added just as soon as we get it all up and going, would be a wedge trade and a box trade. In other words, I could just say click wedge, click box, and either one of them would fire the trade. That's what I want. Okay. Now this looks like this might actually come down more into this line that I want. So see, because that bar closed down. So let's see if we can get a region instead. We'll hit a region and we'll do something like this. Remember I said it should hit that line. And we'll do touch plus 2. And we'll see if we can get a trade one way or the other. Okay. Let's see if it does it. Let's see. Set your, oh yeah, set my bottom. Thank you. Touch plus 2. By the way, when you're talking about setting this up, see, you've got a top of the box and you got a bottom of the box. Now the bottom of the box, this could easily blow through this and keep trucking on down, but if it touches within 2 ticks of that line and then bounces, it will fire the trade. I can even move this in real time. See, this is actually trying its dead level best to very possibly come down and check that swing right there. Let's see what it does. We'll get a trade one way or the other. Okay, we got it there. Look at it come down right to my line. That's what I thought it would do. All right, let's just add one if it does. Okay, we're in 3. See how it just perfectly did that? Now, what you want to do with Object Trader is right off the bat get some coin, right? Okay. Now, what I would recommend after this, okay, is I would turn on the minor alerts, okay, because the minor trade alert to me helps get you the maximum on the trade and trend lines. Okay. Now notice real quick, let's look at this chart, because this happens a lot. Okay. If you draw, let me get rid of this. If you draw a trend line on your chart, notice how I drew the trend line and it barely takes it out. Notice how it even took out 1, 2, 3. But looking on the left side, it didn't take out this side. See, so that's why they came down a little bit further. So basically, this was a little bit larger box. It was more like this. See, but that's still considered a breakout trade to me. I would rather take this trade and put my stop just under here, because that's on the left side of the chart. Just put your stop underneath there and take that trade and probably feel a little bit of heat on it. Okay, simply because when you're trading, you'll notice that what they do, they barely broke up to get you in. They came back and kissed right where I thought it would, and then they took off. But what if they would have just cratered through this? Well, you would have got stopped out. And with 2 contracts at the time, it would have cost me probably $100 or better, 130, something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the other little alert, the minor trade long, and see where it's at. See if it's flashing. Okay, we got a little white bar flashing here. We don't have another one yet. Okay, so let's just play this trade out and see what we get. Anybody trade after 5 in the evening? I've done it a few times, but it's slow. I don't even like it. Now I expect it to kind of come down and kiss right there. Oh, there we go. All right, notice how your white bars, see how your white bars are flashing there? Flashing there and flashing there. Would that be a good area to protect your trade? Simply because the way this was designed is that this is looking at literally a one range bar that's actually stair-stepping down, so to speak, or stair-stepping up in this case. Okay, so could you then go ahead and bring your stop just like underneath that white bar, just in case? Now, what we like to do when they run like this, see how they're missing this line 6? I like to use line 6, but keep in mind, even when you're using line 6, that you're giving up, 12, 15 ticks of it by the time you get taken out easily, right? So these little white bars are pretty good. See what we hit, 1564.80. Let's look to the left to trade the right. It's pulling back a little bit. Yeah, see, that's right at that top. Matter of fact, it just missed it. Always drawing your charts. Did it get up there totally? Nope. So what is that? That's a lower high so far. So if you use that little white bar like so, with the close of a bar, you might be able to get out of this trade earlier than if they decide to come all the way back here and check here or possibly mid-band. Everybody see that? It looks like it's going to get it. See if it does. Notice that we went from about 450 and we're going to end up at about 380 more than likely if that takes that out. But like I say, I like those little white bars and everything. They're pretty good. But then let's look for another trade and see if we can get it. And if we get taken out, that is. This may bounce right here, hopefully. Let me speed it up a little bit. That's too slow. By the way, also draw your trend lines on your charts. You can see that you got pretty good little trend line right through there. Just under those lows, and see it's already taken that out. So see, it got us. Okay. If you use these trend lines, they're pretty good. And notice that we didn't take out that top. Okay, so now looking at this chart, let's look to the left to trade the right. See where they've been. Looks to me like they'd come down to right on top of this swing. See how close that is to mid-band. And there's your predictor, right? Little predictor. So you want to see if we can take that trade if it does? I'm not going to take the breakout, so we're going to turn that one off. That one on. And see if it'll hit that swing. Now see, it's already tested this one. See it? See the lightning? Well, that's strange looking lightning. Not sure exactly when that drew like that. Oh, that's because it's 6 range bars. That's the one other thing that you're going to get is kind of squirrely looking if you use different size bars. I'll probably turn that back. Let's go ahead and turn that back on if it comes back up through it. Okay, now we'll put our stop just underneath. See this little pink? That's actually telling you where a swing was. Okay, so you can actually even use that as your stop. Charles does that a lot. How many days do you load on your charts, Wilfredo? Actually, we only load 3 days. You don't need, see, the whole thing about trading is you don't need more than like 3 days because we're really looking at what's going on right now. Okay, now looking to the left to trade the right, I see a swing, a little micro swing right there. I see a total swing up at the top. You always want to fade it a little bit. Okay, and then you could run a runner. All right, and then let's use our little white bars again or a trend line. Okay, or you could use lightning too. Okay, let's see if this trade works. We got our stop in. Notice how that hit that swing, same area. See, it took out your white, so I'm going to close it. See it right there? So we're flat again. Okay, now this is double topping right now. So are you ready for a short yet though? Anybody? No. What's the rule of thumb if they double top like that? Lightning 3. What do you think is going to happen? Let's look at our little chart here. Take the trees away and just look at the forest for just a minute. I'm going to get rid of this lightning also, just real quick. I want to see something here. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead and draw our lightning. To me, you got support right there. Let's look to the left to trade the right. And you got support right there. No, no, too high. So looking to the left, it's going to be more like here. So I'd be looking for a pullback more than likely into this area right here. If they were to decide to pull back, let's just go ahead and, we got taken out, so let's see if they do something like that for us. All right, there's our little trade that we just took a minute ago, right? All right, let's see what happens. Let's just look at it in the lightning 3. We don't care about the trade. I just want to see if it does what I think it'll do. Got it on nearly 500. Little lower high. Looks like it's just kind of topping out. By the way, that could have been another good trade more than likely. I bet you a predictor printed right. Yep, see there? I kind of figured it did. You can take those trades, by the way. That was a 10-tick trade. But let's see if it checks our support. I'm just curious. If it doesn't blow up. Now, if you walked into your trading room and you saw this action right here, that's pretty sideways, right? So what I'd be looking for in this case, let's say that you took this trade that I just called. Here we go, here we go. See how it's coming down there? Now, where's the trade on here? Right there. Let's see if it doesn't. You're in at your stops right there. Didn't get stopped out. Stops there. Stop still there. Stop could be there. And you got taken out. All right, everybody see that? Now that's actually not, by the way, a bad way to trade if you just draw on your charts and everything, because you'll notice that where it's been, it's going again. Okay. Now notice here, it's doing it one more time. Look here. Where's the trade? Let's see if we can get one. Now this will be only if this does a little stair step back. See how it just came down to support? I'd be boxing it right there. Let's see if that works. You're in. Got your stop in. There you go. See there? See how you can, now that took it out. So what do you think? Well, is it changing trends yet? That looks like that's at the open of the market, so they can do about what they want at the open of the market. Everybody see a little bit more how to do that? Now, this right here, I noticed that this is 8:30 in the morning. This is the area right here that I warn everybody about on Russell every single day that we trade. Okay? Because at the open of the market, see, Russell was just doing a nice, orderly, heading up, heading up, heading up. But if you look to the left on the chart, see your high, your low, your higher high, they really never took that out. That's pretty much just in a range. See, they took it out by what? 6 ticks tops? That's just pretty much in a range. Okay? But notice that on the left of the chart, your high, your low, your higher high is actually over here. And they're just pretty much still in that range. So that's actually a higher low. So more than likely, it actually was heading up again. Everybody see that? So could you have boxed this in here? Very possibly, especially when it took out that resistance right there. So let's look at the actual chart and let's see what happened. I'm curious. That's right here. Where's it at? There it is. Oh, come on. Oh, I know why. We got this one on top all the time. Take that off. There we go. All right. So that's at the open of the market. Is that actually a decent trade, by the way? For a long, it just took out my mid-band. I'm going to be real tight just in case. But notice that I said that was a higher low than the other side of the chart to begin with. So if I remember right, I actually even said that in the room when we traded this particular chart. Now, does everybody see a little bit more by looking at your lightning and everything, how you can pretty much take these trades and that they'll more than likely check them? Let's get rid of lightning over here because that's a little confusing. I'm going to draw it fresh. Let's get rid of it and get rid of this one. All right. Now we're long, but let's say that you weren't long and you wanted to take this trade. Draw your lightning on your chart. Let me real quick fix my lightning. I'm going to kill this trade. I was playing with that the other day, but I'm going to put it back on 4 because that's what, we go by. I just was playing with it on 6. We'll do it on 4. To be fair, I've always used 4. I just tried 6 the other day simply because I thought on Russell it might, be a little bit more slow about it. But I still like 4. I'm going to draw it. All right, so we have a thrust, retrace, thrust. So you got a high, low, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. Okay, so right on top of here is your first thrust, retrace, thrust. All right, so to me, if they were to come back on this at all, they're going to come back into these areas right here. See, because they've thrust up, notice that they have not zigzagged back down at all yet. So if they don't do that, more than likely they're going to come back and check. Let's see if they do. See there? Now, would that have been a decent little trade? Yes. Notice how I drew it ahead of time. All right, where hasn't it checked yet? Well, let's see here. High, low, higher, high. You can't really take this out and continue to head up on this, right? So let's see if they even check this. Now, so far they've just checked this, and that's fine. You would have gotten a nice trade. All right, they got a lower high. There you go. Whoa, wait a minute. See there? Check that swing. Is that a decent trade? Let's try it just for the fun of it. Swing on the left. High, low, higher, high. That's your identified swing on the left. Notice how they just barely tested it. Everybody see what they do when they do this? Look at this. A, B, C, Gartley. That's more of an A, B, bigger C. Notice when they do an ABC, a lot of times they'll just barely take out the previous swing. But if they take it out a lot more, there's a term for that. It's called a Gartley. Thrust, retrace, thrust. A little deeper. Okay? But does that mean that this wasn't a good trade for anybody that took it? 10, 15 tick trade. If I remember right, we called that in the room on, was this Thursday or Friday? This was the 12th, Friday. So this trade was called right here on Friday. This trade was called on Friday, but I think if I remember right, Charles might have missed that one, and then we got, he got the next one. But keep in mind that if you draw on your charts and you look to the left to trade the right, they're going to check your swings. When they thrust way up like this and never zigzag, they come back and check the previous swing. That's a kiss trade. All right, if they don't take out the high, they're going to check the previous swing and see if they can take it out. That's so that anybody that had their stop in here gets taken out before they run this thing. Okay? Now, if you weren't in this trade just yet, does anybody see an area that you could actually get in the trade? Because I see it right now. It's right there at that line that I just drew. Could you take that trade right there? Yes. Put your stop just underneath mid-band. See how it just kissed on top of that swing? Okay? Now, keep in mind that this is not doing boxes as much as I talked about. I turned this into a little bit more kiss trading, I guess. But if you were in this trade, I'd expect it to go up to here or here. Always look to the left to trade the right. Okay? And this is your high up here. Draw another line. Always draw on your charts. Everybody see that? Like I say, this is a pretty good way to trade. And if they don't take out tops, and they're in a range, then, what you want to do as a trader is you want to take the sweet mid-band type trades, and you want to take the deeper retracement trades. Okay? And minimum criteria, if you're thrusting and retrace, thrust, retrace, this is not the time to take minimum criteria trades right here, because you're not taking out the previous highs. Okay? When you want to take those minimum criteria trades is pretty much when you break, like let's say for this one didn't do one, but let's say if this had done one. See how this is breaking the swing over here to the left? If this would have done a minimum criteria trade, that would have been a perfect trade straight up. Now you could still box this because it kissed those two swings right there to begin with. But if this would have done a minimum criteria trade, that is a perfect trade for it because it is stair stepping. When you're not stair stepping like this, don't take minimum criteria. Go deeper. Okay, what's a kiss trade, Aspen? A kiss trade is just simply where it kisses, basically where it just broke out. To give an example, like on here, notice that you had a low here, a high, a little higher low, and then they got a higher high. So what do? They come back and they kiss that area. See it? It doesn't mean they just totally hit it exactly. And then you also have to look to the left to trade the right. And see, there's your left. Draw your line right there, and they kiss that exactly. See it? Well within a tick. Okay, that's what I call a pretty close to exact kiss trade. Okay, because as they do this, what they do is they thrust up and they'll pull back and they'll kiss. See, they haven't kissed this right here yet, and they haven't kissed this right here yet. Let's just play it through and see if they do, just for the fun of it. See how they kiss that one? See there? Now they'll go lower and kiss the next one. Nope, still bounced. Okay, just hit a top. Another kiss trade, pretty close. Lower, kissed, took it out. So see this kiss trade right here, if you would have boxed, you never got it. Now what is this trade that's setting up right here? Anybody? This is a phantom trade. You want to try it just for the fun of it? It went above line 2, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my stop just underneath that and put it on exit on close. Okay, because that is a phantom trade. I missed it because I like to get it at line 2 or even at line 1 if I can. Okay, but that is a phantom trade. Now what they do on this particular trade, well, you had a high, you had a low, you had a barely higher high, so they took out lightning 3. See there? Now keep in mind that this is a phantom trade to begin with. Let me get rid of all the stuff on the chart so you can see it. I will take a phantom trade most any time that they show up. Okay, simply because you get this background. See this background that showed up? All right, now if they're going to take this down, they're going to take it, and take my stop out. Well, that's close. They may take my stop out. We'll see. If they do, they do. Looks like we're okay. See how they check that line 1? They do that a lot. Okay, so we're in a phantom trade. Okay, now phantom trades, by the way, and I know some people don't like phantom trades as much, so I'm going to show you how to trade this, and I'm going to also show you how to trade the other trade that's going to set up for us. Because if you miss a phantom trade, they're going to set up the other kind of trade for you. Okay, but you got to be patient and you got to wait. Okay, and it's called the mid-band trade, but you're going to have to wait for it to thrust up and pull back. All right, so let's see. We don't have a low, a high, and a higher low yet, so we can't check anything just yet. Let's see what it's going to do. Okay, there's a higher low. All right, notice how that just checked my line. Now, the way I see this right now, see this is a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. That's actually like an ABC. So I would be looking probably for a trade, if I was a mid-band trader, that would be looking for this trade right here, where it thrusts up, pulls back and kisses this area. Whoop, don't need that. And then pulls back and then takes off. That would be more of a mid-band trade. You want to see if it did it? And we'll draw our lightning too, so you can see it actually do it in real time, because it'll kiss it, more than likely anyway. Let's watch it. Check the low. You're still in your phantom. By the way, we would have taken some profit. Obviously, you want to take, if you do a phantom trade with like 3 contracts, you want to take most of your profit at mid-band. Okay? Now that is getting a little higher high. Could you box that right there at mid-band? Yep, see it. That's the trade Charles took right there on Thursday, or Friday, pardon me. Anybody remember that trade? See, what you're looking for when you get this first phantom, okay? Now keep in mind that the person, the trader that gets in at this phantom is a lot better off than this trader here to begin with, but this is probably a little safer trade because it gets around that mid-band and you can get a pretty sweet trade. I don't like it when it's this color background. This is the trade I look for in that color background, because that color background is a transitional background that could go from long to transition to short, or it can go from long to transition to long again. Okay, because this is what we call a transition background right here. And it's see how that kissed my line? We drew it ahead of time. You just got to draw on your charts. Okay, so what if you missed that trade entirely right there? Let's see if anybody can get another trade. I'm going to kill this trade. And by just what I've taught, let's talk about kiss trades just for a few minutes. This turned into, I'll change the title of it even, because it's turning into a kiss trade webinar. All right, let's say that you walked in your trading room right now and said, okay, I've got a low, I got a high, I got a higher low, but I don't have a higher high. Okay, so if I'm going to get in this, I'm going to have to either take a breakout, which I don't like, or I'm going to draw a line on my chart, and I'm going to draw a line on my chart, and I'm going to see if they'll thrust up and pull back and kiss them. Let's see if it does. Now, kiss that one, so I'd probably get one. See it? There you go. Kiss. Kissed again. Would that be a decent trade? I drew the lines ahead of time. Let's just buy it for the fun of it and see if it works. See there? See how you draw your lines in real time on your charts? You got to draw the swing area at the time that you see. You know, always draw the one that, you know, when they thrust up out of a range, to give an example, they're going to usually come down and kiss and even possibly take out the previous left swing and then take off. Now, notice how our predictor predicted that. Okay? See, I drew the lines ahead of time myself, but notice our predictor actually predicted the trade also. Okay? See where predictor is right here? Where did we draw our line? We drew it here and we drew it here, right? So what did it do? It kissed it. See? Another predictor trade, by the way. Now, this is just not a bad way to trade. Now, keep in mind what we were talking about today is boxes also. So what would you do with this? Well, you would box in around that predictor, right? Nice tight box. You'd box in around that predictor, nice tight box. And could you take those trades? Predictor trade, nice tight box. Predictor trade, nice tight box. See, that was a phantom trade, by the way, that I took, but look at that predictor trade. Predictor actually predicted that it would come back down and hit that area, so nice tight box again. So if you miss the phantom trade, what do they usually do? They thrust up and they pull back and kiss. They thrust up. They say, you know what? I'm going to check that again. So they come down and check that. And notice that if you drew your box straight across where you got in your phantom, that they pretty much tested right on top of it. Okay, and that's what they do continually. Now, what would it take for this trade to actually break and go the other direction? Anybody? Or do you even see a break as of yet? Because I don't yet, but you easily could. Okay, now real quick. Did anybody see that trade just then? See your lightning? When did that start stair-stepping back up? Well, this didn't even start stair-stepping like that. So where could you have boxed that? You could have actually put a line right above that swing right there and gotten that trade. See how lightning, stair-stepping down, resistance, starts stair-stepping back up. Okay? Let's see if that trade would have held. I put, yep, you'd be out of the trade. Right in there. Everybody see that? How you can do that? Like I say, this is just a pretty good way to trade. It really is. Now, drawing on your chart, what would it take to change this trend? Let's look at it real quick. If we get a trend change at all. I'm going to draw lightning 3. All right, so this is an well, it's not identified because you have a high, a low, lower high, but it's identified as far as if they break it, that they could change trends, right? But your identified swing on the left is over here, way down here. So this could easily, do like something like this. Let's say, for instance, if you did decide that you wanted to take this short here, you'd box it in. I don't trust it until it breaks this myself. But if you did box this in either direction, because this is getting a lower high, you could possibly check here or possibly even check down here. Let's see what it did. Okay. There was your little kiss. See how it breaks down, it comes back and kisses. Now, is that a downtrend, anybody? Now, granted, you changed your total overall background and everything, but looking to the left to trade the right, is this a downtrend yet? If you were looking at this chart right here, let's get rid of lightning 1. Put it back up where it is. And let's draw lightning, we'll draw lightning 2. Is that a downtrend? So you have a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, like a Gartley type move. Is this a downtrend, or is that actually a pretty good area, more than likely to very possibly go long for a really gutsy trader? That's absolutely support. Okay? You took that trade back long too, Brian. See, that's the thing, and if you draw on your charts, you're going to be pretty amazed at what you can actually do. Okay? Because to me, this is a support kiss on the left side of the chart. Now, if it took out this resistance, let's say you didn't get it here. If they took out this resistance like right here, or for sure here, I would probably be going to the upside. So in a case like this, could you turn on a feature we've got called stealth? Let's see if we can get a stealth trade just for the fun of it. That's a little bit more of a breakout trade. I don't like stealth as much. Definitely bounced off support. See how it's stair-stepping up so far? Now, if you get on the wrong side of a trade like this, let's say, for instance, that you shorted that predictor right there because you're thinking this is really heading down, put your stop just above the swing, because that's a legitimate predictor trade to the short side. But if it doesn't stay short, then you better get ready possibly to take it long. See how it's starting to stair step? Put your stop nice and tight. Okay? And that turned out to be probably a pretty good trade, more than likely. But looking to the left to trade the right, that was still an uptrend. Okay? Big old ABC Gartley. Doesn't mean you couldn't have shorted it up in here. Okay? Because you got that lower high. Everybody see that? Now, what if you miss this trade completely entirely? What are you going to do? Well, you've got to either chase it like right now, or you got to just stand down, unfortunately. But if it comes back and kisses like stealth, you could very possibly get into the trade. And sometimes they'll run like that, and they won't even give you a chance to get back in. Let's see if they give us stealth at all. Stealth's way down here, or line 6 even. They could, but they may not. Yeah, there it's coming. I'd take it again. See it breaking? I'd put a nice tight stop on it if I did that. See how it came and kissed stealth? That was actually like an ABC type move. Sometimes you got to be ready to take if you've got a big old stealth just heading up that you don't necessarily get a, oh, we got stopped. That's all right. Okay. Does it even give you another chance? Well, it's hard to say. It doesn't look like it. Let's see, only lightning bars and not the chart bars as per your background chart you show. Just a second, Aspen, I'll answer your question because we're running right at closing time. Just one second. Do you have a chart template to have only dots and not the bars? I missed your question earlier. I'm asking if you have a chart template to display only lightning bars and not the chart bars as per your black background. Yeah, Aspen, it's on your chart. If I helped you put your templates on, it's in your templates. Just go right click and go to templates and load your one called webinar right there. Okay, I've got some others on here, but that's the webinar right there. I should just call it a black chart. Is what I should have called it, I guess. Now, if you're a gutsy trader and you saw like a trend line drawing right here, you know, this has gone up quite a bit. Could you take, if it breaks that trend line, could you try for something quickly? See if we can get something. I'm short. I'll put my stop right there. See how it broke that trend line? All I'm trying for is like mid-band. That's another way to utilize trend lines, by the way. Now, like I said, I wouldn't give them a lot of wiggle room. That's got 9 ticks. I'd probably start tightening it. Something like that. And if it takes it, it takes it. But it did break that trend line. Now, keep in mind, that's a counter trend trade. That would be where you would want to probably get out of your trade, but not necessarily short it. But it's amazing. I want to show you something else too I saw, and I didn't even draw it, but I designed it, so I obviously saw it. See the little white bar? Oops, sorry. See the little white bar up here? It was stair-stepping, wasn't it? Stair-stepping, stair-stepping, stair-stepping. Broke it. Broke our trend line and went down. Now that was a gutsy move, but what I did that one for is just to show you that trend lines do work. You know, when they've gone like a house of fire like that, I wouldn't recommend just going for like 3 contracts and big old moves. I would just simply scalp it. Okay, because if you scalp a trade, you can usually get 10 ticks. I mean, you're only talking about like 2 bars plus, you know, half another one. Okay. You love those little white and black bars for a trail. I do too. I mean, when I designed this at first, and we're going to wrap here in just a second, I actually had done that for a potential trend change, but then it hit me like a ton of bricks one night. Said, that's actually lightning. and I'm looking for trend changes on like a 415. So why couldn't I do just the fastest chart period and look at one trend changes and watch it stair step? And when it quits stair stepping, get out. Not a bad idea. It gets you out literally at these tops. It's amazing. Look at this one over here. Stair stepping, stop. Stair stepping, stop, out. See it? Yeah, it's pretty nice. And that way you don't give up a bunch on your trade. Now, sometimes they'll get you out early. Let's see here. White bar, got your stop there. Got another white bar, got your stop there. Another white bar, got your stop there. And you got stopped out right in that area. So that one didn't, well, still not bad though if you got him way down here. And then you got white bar, white bar, white bar, white bar, white bar, white bar, stopped. So I think they're pretty good. And keep in mind the black bar is also pretty good too, because look at this. Let's say if you shorted this right here. Let's look at it. You got your little black bar flashing. This is going straight down though. So you got your, you box it in, you got your little stop. It takes out resistance. You can put your stop just above resistance. And you didn't get another black bar on that one. That's it. The one thing about it though is that they don't, if you get this straight down type movement, there really wasn't any kind of a little thrust, retrace thrust, even on a one range bar. I would think it would have done it right here myself, but I'm going to talk to the programmer on that, because to me, these bars are straight down, but that one went back up. That was a 4-range bar, and that one went back down. So that should, on a 1-range chart, make that black bar, in my opinion. But they do have to close the bar. So I'll talk to him on the algorithm on that. But I just love them as far as getting out of trades. Anybody have any questions before we wrap? Are these decent trades? And by the way, this is a phantom trade right here. Okay. But notice that it broke Lightning 3. Could you box this in? And if it takes this out, could you very possibly short it? It's stair stepping. See it? Stair stepping. Draw your lightning. So where's this trying to go? Let's look to the left to trade the right. It's already been there. It's trying to go here, very possibly. See right on that swing. And let's look to the left, trade the right, same swing. So it's trying to go right there. Very possibly to check that. Let's see if it does, just for the fun of it. Bingo. Everybody see that? Looking to the left to trade the right. Draw on your charts and you'll be pretty amazed at what you can do. Now, if you weren't in this trade just yet, what would you do with this one? Well, you do the same thing we teach. But keep in mind, so far, low, high, ABC. Remember? Another high. So where is your lower? Your low's right here. So is this a downtrend yet? Well, it's a downtrend on our smaller chart, but is this a downtrend on the larger move? No. No, it's still heading up. Let's fast forward and just see if it did. Box it in. Yep. Long. See it stair step? 1, 2, 3. Hold a higher level than this one. Could you box this in? Absolutely, you can box those in. Okay. Always keep in mind there's 3 and then there's even 4 trends on your chart. Always look at the larger trend also, because when you're trading these markets, kind of squint your eyes if you have to, but you've got a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, higher low, higher high, probably. Okay, so be ready. Now, does that mean that we couldn't still take this little trade at mid-band? Absolutely. Box it. It got you a scalp, took you out of the trade. Okay? All right, everyone. I hope this helped everybody. I think if a person would really learn to, see what's happening on the chart, is this a look at that? It bounced right there too. We just missed it, but that looks like a good trade to me. All right. Where did it kiss? Draw your lines on your charts. It kissed that swing right across there. Okay, they'll usually kiss those lightning 3 swings within a tick or two, and their areas. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed this. Thanks everybody for coming. Wow, look at that thing go at the bell. Mercy. All right, let's see. Do you know of an indicator that identifies what now? That identifies a swing? Kenneth? We could actually very possibly have something added to the chart that would tell it when it identifies. Yeah, there's a downtrend, by the way. See how it broke that support right there? There's a kiss. That was a good short. I was drawing it as it was happening. Elliott steps. I'd have to look at that. I'm not dead sure on that. Look at that. Nice short. But what do trades do? And we're going to wrap real quick. But notice when this broke, this swing right here, they broke it, came back and kissed it. But you're not sure yet because that's a transition background. But when they broke this, bam, they kissed it again and rolled. See there, that's probably, it's really close to minimum criteria, but it didn't make it. Okay, but always remember that if you miss a trade, as a rule, they're going to kiss the area that they just broke down from or broke up from. And you can draw on your charts and see them. This is exactly how I draw on these charts. No secrets or anything like that. All right, let's see if I missed anything. I'm going to be gone this afternoon for a while. Linda's dad had a little bit of a problem with, basically had to be in the hospital for a few days. And when they were getting him out of bed, they pulled him. He's 92 years old. So when they pulled him, they hurt his back. So guess who's mowing his yard today? We are. So I'll go take care of that for him. Hopefully he gets better. I mean, he's 92 and he still does all that himself, which is kind of crazy. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Just remember to learn to trade this way. Look at that. That's a predictor trade right there. Is that a good trade? Well, I think we ran out of space. Yeah, we're out. So we can't see. That was the end of the day. But would this be a predictor trade? Absolutely. All right. We'll do this again on Monday. Now, keep in mind, you're going to get an occasional trade that's not going to work on you. But if you'll learn to diagnose your charts and see what's really going on, and look at your areas. Now, keep in mind, we're this side of the chart traders. We would take this trade right here. But the overall trend is still up even at this very moment. See? So on Monday, could they hold this swing and very possibly head up? They might even thrust up and check this swing right here. They're checking that one. See it right there? Could they thrust up and then come back and check that one and then head up like something like that, go up and then come back down and kiss, looking to the left to trade the right? Very possibly could do it. But right now, they're still in a downtrend so far, but they're in an uptrend on the overall chart. Okay? So you got to be ready at a moment's notice. Don't just think because the background turns red. You'll still get some great trades, but always look to see what's really going on in your charts too. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Saturday. And if anybody needs anything, just call later around 5 p.m. if that'd be okay, because we're going to head out right about now and go take care of his yard. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.